the amount of, when you really study up, and the amount of injuries on big name starting pitchers at the end of last year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's countless guys who are either out for this entire year or they maybe can come back at the middle point of the season.
Hungry for a winner? Sometimes all you need is a slice.
You make this pizza?
We swap pepperoni for parlays and give you alternate lines instead of anchovies.
I'm telling you, this pizza idea is really gonna happen.
From our kitchen to your wallet, sweat with us and throw some pizza money on it.
Double meatball, pepperoni, sausage, peppers, onions, extra mozzarella.
Welcome to Mitch and Paulie's Pizzeria.
All right, and you can send in your suggestions. Email is ftm@vsin.com. We're on X at VSiN Live, at Mitch Moss Radio, and at MeJVT today. I'll begin by talking about a home run bet that I placed this year, and it's on Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at 30-1. I don't know if that number's still available or not, but it was the best number that I could find anywhere, and I'll give you a couple of reasons why I bet Vlad this year. I think he's going to have a bounce-back season. He did tie for the league lead with 48 in 2021. He was 45-1 preseason at that point. And I thought, well, you're never, ever going to see that number ever again. And we haven't. It hasn't been close. But this year, 30 was good enough for me. And there's a story on MLB.com where they recently talked to Vlad. And he said, quote, in 2021, I prepared myself without thinking about all those numbers that I could put up. This year, I said, you know what? I'm going to do the same thing. I'm not going to think about anything mentally about putting up numbers. I think it might work out. Maybe the same numbers, maybe even better. End of quote. And they also had another paragraph that said, they pointed out as a reminder, he's battled wrist and knee injuries in recent years. Nothing debilitating, but these things add up. It's not just baseball. It's life on the road, the travel, the time changes, the late hours. How these players feel in September is a different life entirely than February. Guerrero has acknowledged now that he did not prepare himself well enough for 2023 and felt that discomfort from head to toe. Guerrero added, quote, to be honest with you, when I wake up, I feel a lot better. That's going into the season. He admitted to not being prepared or not feeling well throughout recent seasons. Now this year he feels great. And I'll run down some of the numbers here in recent years. That's, when you look at overall home runs, yeah, it's pretty hardcore, but this is the kind of stuff that you need to look at, right? Barrels that he hit in 2021. 75 overall, 15.1%. The number of barrels that he put on the baseball dropped over recent years to 59 and 56. And it went from 15% overall to 11% in the 2 years after he led the league in 2021. His average exit velocity in 2021 was 95.1. That was the top 1% of the league. In 2022, he dropped to the top 4%. Last year, it was only top 9%. And if he can get back to that 2020 form, then he's going to be in the mix and he's going to hit a lot of home runs. The launch angle in 2021 was 9.4. In 2022, it was only 4.3. So what does that mean? A lot more line drives. And you're not going to have those balls get up in the air with a chance to go over the fence. Last year, it was up to 10.5. We need that kind of number again. The sweet spot percentage in 2021 was 33.7%. That was an all-time high for him. Again, let's say that he can replicate the 2021 season. If he gets back in that range, then we're talking about more home runs. And the hard hit percentage in 2021 has also dipped. In that year, in 2021, it was 55.2%, top 2% of the league. In 2022, it was 50.4%, top 6% of the league, and he didn't even rank out last year because it dipped to below 50%.
Sure.
But let's take him for his word. He feels a lot better. Those kind of hardcore metrics get back to where it was in his career year of 2021. I'll take my chances with that, and if he hits more than 40 home runs this year, I think he'll be in the mix. 30-1 was worth it to me. I think 20-1 might be worth it, but below 20-1, I would probably stay away from anybody for most home runs at this point of the season.
I like it. You've thought a lot about this.
I have.
Yes, it seems like you have. All right. I was told long shots. Oh, no, you're going to go next. Sorry, you got one more. Go.
Oh, one more here. If he can stay healthy, I think the Mariners are going to be a potential playoff team. They have a win total, I believe, in the high 80s. let's say they push that number, potential playoff team. They're going to win a lot of games, probably a lot of close games. They have a really good staff. Andres Munoz is the new closer. He's 35-1. I love his stuff. He proved that he could be the closer last year once they traded Sewald to the Diamondbacks. You don't like 35-1, not good enough for you?
Well, I was told long shots. I was thinking...
Those are not long shots?
We're going. You want some long shots? All right, here we go. Let me clear out here. Let's go. First off, Tristan McKenzie, out AL Cy Young, 100-1. I'm holding on to 2022. Made 31 starts. He played in 31 appearances, 30 starts, 191 in third innings. Looked absolutely great. 2.96 ERA. Looked like he was on his way up and took care of the home run issue that he had the previous couple of years in the majors. Was striking out guys at a pretty decent clip. All that had dipped. He had actually gotten the command issues. Last year, though, didn't go well. Got injured immediately at the start of the season. Only ended up making 4 starts last season, over 16 appearances, 16 innings, at a 5.06 ERA. But I'm banking on the growth that we saw from McKenzie in 2022 is real. The guy looks like he could be a stalwart for Cleveland if he continues to kind of grow at the pace that we thought he was. He's got some really good underlying numbers that I think you're going to be able to replicate as you move forward. And just assuming that last year, over 4 starts because of a shortened season, that was stunted, that growth, because of injuries to him last season ago. So you talk about 100-1 that in 2022 for a guy that had a sub-3 ERA and looked like he was on his way up. I'll take my shot with a guy who seems like he's going to be fully healthy.
I will tell you that McKenzie is one of the guys I wanted to be on last year.
Yep.
And then he opened up, I think the high water mark was 41 that I could find on him anywhere. And then the injury, the question mark obviously would be, is he going to be able to throw enough innings this year?
Right. And I think he can again. Now, coming off of an injury, maybe it does worry you. Maybe Cleveland plays some games is limiting him. I haven't really read a lot on that, or at least seen it personally. But the thing for me is twofold. First off, in 2022, 191 in the third innings. So he has at least shown that he can.
He's got that history.
Yep. He's got a history that shows he can have a high workload if need be. And the other thing that he really liked a lot, too, last year is despite all of the struggles that he had, command was the real issue, which I think he can get back in or rein back in. Didn't give up a ton of home runs. In fact, he's improved as a guy who's kept the ball in the park every single year so far. So I think that you're going to like that for Tristan McKenzie. So, and the other point, you're talking about a guy that was around 50-ish to 1, 40-1 to win the Cy Young last year. The only thing that happened last year was he got injured. So I'll take my shot at 100-1 here for Tristan McKenzie to win AL Cy Young.
So you and I, by the way, are playing in the same fantasy league.
Yes.
The amount of, when you really study up, and the amount of injuries on big name starting pitchers at the end of last year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's countless guys who are either out for this entire year or they maybe can come back like at the middle point of the season.
It's also why I think for fantasy, I think that I waited, but also I think it's why you wade into the waters of some of these longer shots for pitchers. I mean, you don't want to really invest in these shorter shots because some of these guys, the injuries are insane. And you get these guys to kind of rise up here.
Yeah.
I mean, like Justin Steele was in contention for the NL Cy Young at one point.
Yeah, he almost won it.
Fantastic, right. He looked fantastic.
So I'm looking at Fangraphs right now and using their projections at like a bunch of different models. They have, I think the high mark here is the Zips projection has them going 160 innings pitched.
Yep.
And actually, Corbin Burns kind of proved a few years ago that you don't have to pitch a zillion innings to win the Cy Young as a starting pitcher. If he could get in that 160, 170 range, you might have, And
if he's healthy and working well, I'm sure they'll allow him to kind of push forward through that.
I've taken too much time away.
I got one more. I got another one for you here. Where are we going next? Throw it up. How about this big one? Strikeout leader, Brian Wu, 750-1. This is what I was told. This is what you wanted, folks, huh? Let's do this thing. Now, Brian Wu, I mentioned the story to Mitch before the show started. One of my favorite moments from last year in which he made his debut against Texas and his parents were in the stands and he got absolutely shelled by the Texas Rangers. Dude's got some live strikeout stuff, though. And if you look at his time in the minors, we're talking about a K per 9 that was 12 or higher each year in the minors for Seattle. And it's short sample size stuff, but I really like the way that this guy can pitch. You saw some of the underlying numbers last year that it didn't really look great on the surface, but expected ERA was 3.48. The guy I think is much better than what he showed. Young, some growing pains, but he's got some stuff that I think is pretty live. And he can rack up strikeouts, I think, in a really big way. Now, of course, it's 750-1. You have no idea what the workload's going to be, how many innings he's going to pitch, but in 87 2/3, got you nearly 100 strikeouts overall. I think he was floating around like 85-90. I think this guy's going to be pretty live if he gets a big workload here for the Seattle Mariners. Who knows? The improvement's got to be there. It's 750-1 for a reason. And then the last one, I think this is pretty simple. I was looking around. There's a wide variety of numbers. Figured you'd be in on this. Ellie De La Cruz, 100-1 to win NL MVP. A team that's projected to win about 84-ish games, can steal bases. Now, I think he's got to hit for a better average because he did not really hit for a high average last year. But you've got the potential to really rack up, right? Good amount of home runs, good amount of runs batted in, steals, and the most important part, Mitch, he's got the narrative. People love him, and people are going to watch him.
And he will have several, as he did last year, wow moments.
Yes.
And people are going to be like, my good Lord, I've never seen anything like this before on the baseball field.
He's as high. His odds to win it are like 40 to 1. And then all the way from 40 to 100 to 1 if you were shopping around.